every single one of you. Welcome to this episode of our show. Time to talk about Impact Wrestling is something that we always done, and it always been great for the channel because you guys hate when we do WWE. I don't know why. That is the truth. Thank you for the no support for Elimination Chamber. I really love that. Like nobody watches the video, but anyway, Jean Paul, Impact from Las Vegas, No Surrender, really nice card. Even like the pre-show was like pretty decent. Mike Bailey, not Jonathan Gresham, and Diana Perazzo going against Giselle. We're not really going to talk about those matches, but I think overall Impact has a solid roster, and the pay-per-views are not that bad.
Yeah, this wasn't too bad. About 2.5, 2 hours 45 minute pay per view. Some pretty good matches I think on here. It definitely wasn't. It didn't have. I would say maybe the top stars or the biggest names and stuff like that, or maybe it did, and maybe Impact just doesn't. It wasn't just presenting the best maybe feuds and stuff, but this is definitely one of their I would say weaker pay per views. It's not a Slammiversary. It's not a Bound for Glory or anything like that. Rebellion's coming up. But, No Surrender, this was still pretty good showing. Frankie Kazarian, kicked us off here with this pay per view. So, I liked it. I enjoyed it, I think, for the most part. And Impact, they're always chugging along, delivering some pretty good
Like you said,
wrestling.
Frankie, like really good match, and is one of Impact's own. The only thing, of course, Frankie never really had the opportunity to be a top guy, but that was a really great match, and that's what started it. Then we move on to like the Dead Dolls against Hex for like the knockouts, like tag team championships. This was okay. I wanted actually Hex, because like Allison K is really good. I really like her work, and this they were like champions on NWA going against Taya Valkyrie, and of course like Jessica and all of that. I mean, did you like this match? To me, a little bit of like the same. In the end, I wanted the Hex to win, but it didn't happen for us.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things. Like I said, I was, uh, really excited off the first match. I thought was good, Kazarian and stuff. And then, going into this, I thought, okay, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of some of these women. Yeah, but it's just where's the feud? It is. They're talking about Rosemary's dad, and then Rosemary's not even in the match, and it's all fake. And I mean, it's same thing with the Undertaker. He was fake, but at least that was presented somehow more real. You know what I mean? It
Yes.
was just the feud. This whole thing didn't really make any sense. The match was okay, but I didn't really expect the titles to change hands here. They didn't. Taya Valkyrie. I always enjoy seeing her. She's great. So this was a pretty decent match, but again, it could have been something just been on Impact Television.
It could have, and like we got to see Rikishi's finisher for the win. Jessica did like very similar what it used to be, that like that demolition like finisher that she like Rikishi used to do, and in the end, the Dead Dolls like they remain champions. So we'll see what happens with these titles. Remember when like Fire and Desire they were like the champs. When actually Kira Hogan was on Impact, that was at least more attractive, I won't say, because the titles had lost a lot of momentum after that. But Paul, let's go to the next match. This was very fun, and I don't like to see Moose in these situations, just because Moose is like the wrestling god. He's supposed to be all serious, all. But I enjoy that, like and I believe in Joe Hendry. It's cool. Like the stick is fine. He has his own song. Just a lot of like toys, a lot of like gimmicky stuff. I didn't enjoy that part. It could have been done a lot better for me.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those things. Moose, when he was the Impact World Champion, we were saying he was on the level of Roman Reigns in the sense that he was legit, he was believable. You thought that this guy was an actual pro wrestler, or even like a level of a Walter. Somebody like that who you believed. You thought, okay, this guy's real. He's not fake like these other guys. And then he's involved in a match with quite possibly one of the fakest guys of all, Joe Hendry.
Yes.
And that's no offense to his skill or anything, but it's all comedy, and comedy in wrestling is 9 times out of 10 it proves that wrestling is fake, and that's what this
Yes.
was. I mean, they had the keyboard, they had the Sega Dreamcast, they had all the
I mean, the
bullshit.
Sega, Jean Paul for
No,
me is legit, but I mean, you use
no,
it
I
there, it
mean
takes
it's
you out,
not. No, it's not legit in a wrestling match. I mean, it's a cool
It
system
takes
to
you out. It
play,
does.
but no, I mean this was stupid. And then Moose gets beat. So I mean,
Yeah.
not good for me. I thought, okay,
This part completely took me
yeah,
out, Paul, when he was dancing. Like he gets like the virtual whatever, and then he's
yeah,
dancing.
the
I'm like,
VR
come on,
headset. I mean,
come on.
the only good thing about this whole match and everything is when they did get the VR headsets, they said on commentary, which again, commentary was abysmal. I always got to say that Impact's
Oh,
commentary.
well, yeah,
They,
no, Jonathan, yeah, Tom Phillips, and of course, like Johnny English, yeah, no,
but
Aiden English, not really good.
when they said that, they're like, "Oh, where'd we get these VR headsets from?" Jeremy Borash's bachelor pad. That was a pretty good line. But other than that, no. I mean, this match, it sucks to see Moose go from the main event being so legit to drop down to the mid card. But it
Yes,
is
and
what it
especially
is.
like see the fashion that it was done. Like of course like the small package. Like all of those things that they always use, and it's still lethal in pro wrestling. In the end, Joe Hendry is still like the digital champion. I don't like that. Like you said, Moose deserves a lot better. He should be like if not the main event, like the match before the main event. Well, we got to see like a terrible segment, so it's just worth like talk about 2 seconds about the Boston Open Radio. Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, they go at each other. Oh, I was there when your mom died, and then but like you just make fun of me because he's that heel. Terrible stuff. I don't know why they even do this. These two guys are like just like they should be on the podcast and that's it. Don't bring this stuff to like a show,
Yeah,
like
I mean,
even
the only
not even paper.
thing, you didn't like it. I was mixed on it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who love this. It was just when you blur the lines, again, what I said about the comedy, this is the same thing. Everybody knows wrestling is a work. Everybody knows everybody's working together. You had the Conrad Thompson, Ric Flair last match, Jeff Jarrett. They have a podcast together, but they were feuding and fighting, and it was cringy because everybody knew it was fake. Everybody knew that they were friends and this was all working together. It's the same thing here. Bully Ray tries to be the baby face. Tommy blows him off because he knows he's bullshit. And then in the end, Bully proves him right. Throw a coffee in his face. Beats him up. What do you mean? People like me. Blah, blah, blah. Bully gets upset. Storms off. Gets, shitty with everybody in the crowd. So, I mean, again, you knew it was coming. And it's all fake. The apology's fake because he's not really mad because he did this and that. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, oh man, this wasn't as great as it could be because it's all fake.
And Paul, the only thing is like I wish that like I hope that like when they do the show they keep carrying the storyline. Instead of like this, and then Monday, yeah, oh, life is great. Hey, what's up? How was your weekend? I don't want to hear that. I
Yeah,
don't think that
exactly.
that should be what they do. So like, I mean, the podcast is really popular, and like, of course, the Boston Open Radio or whatever. But again, for me, like you said, this blurs the line of like
And also,
reality and
Dave LaGreca sounds like Vince Russo. He has that same shitty New York accent, so I can't listen to him talk longer than
at
five
least he doesn't
seconds.
say bro. So
Yeah,
that at least
yeah.
that's something cool to say, and that's at least this really nice. So Jean Paul, let's move to the next match, and this was like a fatal four-way for the number one contender for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. And PCO, he has a lot of people that love the guy. He might even move slow. The moves are like, like, oh, you think that he's gonna die when he does that. But the outcome was towards the end. For me, I didn't like how it ended. But despite that, Myers, Heath, and they were planning this for Macklin. Out of anybody, the one thing that I want you to bring to your attention, Paul, is like they always at least try to push the guy that has not been pushed before. So that's at least cool.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about this, you saw the promo before the match with Steve Macklin. He said, "Hey, Rich Swan, I hope you win tonight because I kicked your ass before, so I know I'll be able to do it again." And Rich Swan is like, "Well, dude, why don't you even go become number one contender first before you worry about me?" Blah blah blah. So you see the promo back and forth, this and that. So I mean, some good stuff there, but it almost set it up that Steve Macklin was gonna win. And I thought, is that a red herring? Is that a swerve? So it's not Macklin. Maybe it's somebody else, but you're not going to see PCO versus Josh Alexander. I mean, I think Brian Myers versus Alexander would be cool. Same thing with Heath, but and Macklin's good too. So any of those three, but I mean, man, they made it so obvious that Macklin was going to win. He ends up winning, so that kind of sucked. And I don't know if any of those other three guys, the ones who didn't win, none of their positions on the card really made it seem like they were going to win either. They were kind of
Yes,
just thrown in there. I mean, I love
yes.
Myers. I love Heath, PCO legend, but they're not really doing anything. Myers was kind of in the tag team. Then he was here. Now he's doing this. So, I mean, this was still good, but, it was kind of just like a normal fatal four-way match you see in any company. Two guys are fighting. One guy's laying out. The fourth guy does a big dive on him. You know what I mean? It's
It's the
what
same
you
thing, like
see
you
in
said. I
every
mean,
match. Yeah.
the appearance of like Eddie Edwards like made it a little better, I guess. Because it continues, it carries on the storyline that he has on PCU, and oh my God, he's still there. Oh, and that opened the window for like Steve Macklin took his
But then
finisher
but
on to like Heath.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, but like when you're talking about PCO, we'll talk about. I want to ask you about the aftermath. What do you think about Trey Miguel coming out and all that? He cut a pretty good promo, I thought.
The promo
Saying
was
like,
good.
yeah, saying like, if I was AJ Styles or Samoa Joe or any of these other guys, you wouldn't treat me like shit. I'd have a match on the card, but I don't. You disrespect me, blah blah blah. I thought, okay, this is good. And then PCO just gets up and kicks his ass. And
Yeah,
I thought, well, what
right
that?
there, choke slam him, like
So
that's
to
a
me that
clothesline
that
on
that was
him.
that was
All the
stupid.
legitness. Like,
This isn't how you build new stars. This is how you make people look like shit. So this was stupid. This was bad booking. You know, again, it's
I don't get it why they
yeah,
get him involved either. I
yeah.
don't. I
What
didn't
was
see. I
the
mean,
point of
okay, they
this?
are gonna have a feud, okay, but like PCO doesn't need to win. So what's the point of the feud? Like you said, this was poorly done because out of anybody, Trey Miguel should be the one that you said that is get pushed. So it should be like the guy that you want to actually get over. But this for me was like the best match of the night. A lot of like tag team moves, but it didn't feel as cringe as the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. It didn't feel like as cringe as that. Everything was done, to me, because they're all single guys. I mean, like the Bullet Club, I guess Bullet Club, this incarnation that nobody gives a damn. Everybody talks about Jay White like finally leaving New Japan, but like these guys, I didn't even know that like some of them were in the Bullet Club. But to me, the match was actually very good. I enjoyed this because again, the combinations were not that forced. Like I didn't see a lot of collaboration. You tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, Motor City Machine Guns, and you had the Time Splitters. So they kind of just combined Alex Shelley being the piece between those two teams. So are combined here, and then you see who it was Kenta, right?
Rose Kenta, yeah, Prince Bay,
Kenta,
and
and then
also, yeah,
yep, with the Bullet Club side. So I mean, you have six guys who are all fantastic. You know what I mean? So there's nobody in here who, ooh man, they're gonna stink up the joint. So this was great, like you said, it was high flying, but it wasn't. It didn't remind you. Now some spots, yes, but it didn't remind you like a gymnastics routine, like a Young Bucks match where, oh, they're holding hands the whole time and they're jumping and working together and this and that. There was good moves, fast paced action. Good to
yes,
see Koshida again. Kenta, same thing. I love the Motor City Machine Guns, man. They look like they did in 2008. You know what I mean? They're still
yep.
killing it. And the Bullet Club, like you said, I almost wish that they would just get rid of that. I don't know if it still
The
holds
name,
weight and moves merch in Japan, but the name is dead. The name is
yes,
it hasn't meant anything since that to me, AJ Styles. It barely meant anything when it was Kenny Omega and all them, but AJ
yes,
Styles, Finn Balor, that's when it really
I agree,
meant something. But
absolutely.
but no, I mean this match was good. I enjoyed it, and I think it was, one of those. It could have almost been the co-main event, I think, with how good it was.
Yes, really good. I really enjoyed it, and like you said, in the end, we got to see shenanigans for the Bullet Club. Like yeah, this reminds me a little bit of like the NWO, like Wolfpack, red, and then you don't know what to do. You just need the name because, like you said, it sells shirts. That was pretty much what it is. But in the end, the Bullet Club gets the win. I would much rather see the Time Splitters just to get the win because like it's the first and only time probably we'll see Kushida joining with them. But in the end, we got this guy, of course, like that. He always gets the win when it comes to the heels, and now I guess he's just in the Bullet Club. Nobody really cares about him too much because he has lost a lot of momentum.
Ace Austin is one of those guys that if he went to WWE and they wouldn't care about his size, man, they could push him because he has the charisma.
Yes.
WWE has the production, the camera angles. They could give him a nicer jacket, a nicer, his sunglasses. They could just give him the nicest everything. I mean, this guy could be a star. He could have
Yeah.
a great feud with Cody Rhodes. Both of them have the charisma. He's the cocky heel. You know what I mean? A Sami Zayn. There's tons of great, stuff you could do with Ace Austin.
Like you
But
will
it,
say, Paul, right? Like their Impact has a lot of great talent. Sometimes, like you said, the booking has been the biggest like detriment.
that's
The
what I mean.
most
Like,
negative thing that happens on Impact is always like the booking because the stars that they have, or at least the talent, is top notch. Like they have nothing to be filled bad on WWE on AEW. Like it's just how do you use them. So that's great to know. And we're gonna move forward to the next match. Let's talk about now the Knockouts Championship match. Mickey James against Masha Slamovich. The match, two different styles. Mickey still looks great for the age. Like she can go out absolutely anybody. And Masha is more, like a grappler, more like like doesn't have too many aerial moves, too many like she doesn't fly and all of that. But the thing was like she was now for 9 months she was undefeated, and you got to see a little bit of like the old school Mickey James. I did enjoy this, especially because she was not able to hit the Mick DDT or the DDT that she has. And Masha was when she put that submission hold, Mickey was using just the ropes and everything. And what she said to like Masha is like the last rodeo is over, but the era of Mickey James is just on. So like really, really good match. As I said, commentary doesn't get me anywhere, but at least the magic was really decent.
What do you think of the spot where she bit her tongue to get
That
out
was
of
great.
the thing? I mean,
That was great,
that was
unexpected, and that's the
yeah.
one thing that like
I
gets
mean,
me into a match.
like I said, this was good. Mickey James, man, she's the ageless wonder. She's like wine. She's better as the days go on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I mean, and Masha, she's one of those things where like they built her up, and I thought, okay, she has kind of some momentum, this and that. But that undefeated streak can only go so long. And again, like we say, this is nothing against Impact Wrestling, but building somebody up with that monster Goldberg undefeated push like that in a small, where barely anybody views this, especially the women's division, I'm sure, because if people check anything with Impact, they just say, oh, who won the main event or whatever. But, regardless of that, it's just with Masha, is she really that over? Was this a failed experiment? I don't know if I want to say that, but I thought she's not really gonna win here. You know what I mean? And if you don't think that the champ is really in trouble, it kind of hurts the match. And this just came after such a high action 6-man tag match, and it's right before the main event. So I don't want to say this was a dead spot for the ladies, but it kind of in this spot here this is always like the come down match where you go, okay, I just saw a high paced match. So I think that maybe kind of hurt them a little bit too. But another thing I didn't like, and you tell me, is the finish. They kind of
Right
rolled,
there, I
and they
have it in the picture.
and
It
they
was
were
weird.
both
Not,
yeah,
not, not,
and they were
not clear.
both they both had their shoulders on the mat, and one, two,
Yeah.
three, and I thought, okay, it's gonna be a screwy finish. Nope, hardcore country. You
Country.
hear the music, and I said, okay, I guess there's no collusion. It's Mickey James 100%, and that was the match. So that was a little weird. I thought maybe Masha would beat her up and say, no, I pinned her, blah blah blah, and there'd be, oh my god, we don't know what's going on, to add a little excitement to it. It was just Mickey won, okay, main event. It
You're
was just
right, and and the thing is, like, they want to sell that feud with Jordan Grace because Jordan Grace claims that like she tap out, but nobody saw. I mean, everybody saw it but the referee. So I mean, feud is over. So I think they want a rematch because it's kind of like
yeah.
Diana and Jordan Grace like 2 years ago. It's like that feud makes more money, or at least gets people more excited and interested. So there you go. Then tell me a little bit about the main event, because main event I really enjoyed what it was, because a lot of feelings involved. Rick Swan going into like, oh, like when I lost to Kenny Omega for the AEW and Impact Championship, do I really have it in me? That was the question that Josh Alexander even asked him. So back and forth, and there was a lot of good moments in the match. For example, when he first hit the first divine intervention, and then Rick Swan rolled out of the ring. Very smart, like a lot of us good psychology here, Paul.
Oh, I mean, this match was great. Like I said, that's the one thing with Impact is, especially with Josh Alexander as champ, you watch the main event match, you're gonna go, okay, that was a pay-per-view worthy match. You might not say that was the best match of the year, might not even be the best match you saw all week, but you're gonna say, man, that was a pay-per-view caliber match. That was a good match. It wasn't just, oh, that could have been on TV, or oh, that sucked, or whatever. No, I mean, they put on great matches, but to me, this was the best match of the card. Yeah, the crowd was into it. They said they were sold out there, so I'll take their word for it. But the
Sold out
crowd,
like 100 people.
yeah, but I mean, the crowd was into it. They were cheering
Yeah.
for Rich Swan. They were cheering for Josh Alexander too. But I mean, they were into these guys backing both baby faces. Like you said, Rich Swan was great. I love the story. I can't believe 2 years ago is when he lost the belt to Omega. Time flies, but it was
Yeah,
just this
it
was
does.
great stuff. The great action, like you said, and it it, it took everything he had to beat him. A big pile driver off the second rope or off the top, and then
Yeah.
then he did his suit his not
It
a
used to be called
suplex.
this divine intervention. They call it a CTR4 or something
Yeah.
like that now.
Yeah, or yeah, the C4 or pile driver or
C4s, yeah.
whatever you call.
I
I
like the
don't know
other
what
name
it is.
better. The
Yeah.
divine intervention was a really cool name. And in the end, he gets the win. But like it was a really cool match, like he even hit the finish splash where like he was trying to win, he got it. So hey, the champion looks good, the number one contender looks good. It was a really good way to like close the show. Really strong main event. I mean, it was Rick Strong gonna win? Nah, because you said two baby faces. But Steve Macklin maybe has the chance to dethrone Josh Alexander. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. See, that's the one thing I was actually just thinking is Macklin to me, I think will be somebody good for Rebellion if that's where they're gonna do it. A heel. It's a bigger pay per view and impacts mine, so they're gonna maybe want to do the more traditional matchup, heel versus babyface. But I really don't know who you build up. I mean, to me, it would be Moose again. He's the only at
Do
least
Moose.
credible guy, but I mean, where he is in the card, you'd really have to build him up. So I don't know what they do, how they do it, you know. But it's the one thing where Josh Alexander, man, he's still a great champ. So maybe you just ride with him for a while.
Yeah, that is something that you could really do. So family, thank you so very much for being with us. This was a really good show for like a Friday night. Better than SmackDown, way better than SmackDown. So please, help us out, support us. We want to keep putting more good content for all of you. So Paul, remind everybody where they can find us.
Well, it may be better than SmackDown, but I don't know if it's better than a Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns segment. But that's up for debate. But you can find us and hear all of our opinions on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the number one podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is
Uh, the
Ada.